BTech 2009 and MTech 2011 from same university. After that, I went to Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Trivandrum, for my PhD. After PhD, since 2017, I have been working with URO Satellite Center of Indian Space Research Organization as a scientist engineer. I am currently holding the post of SE and work as a RF designer. RF designer in the sense of whatever data satellite collects on board that needs to be conveyed to the ground. And the systems which are responsible for that, for example, data transmitters, then telemetry transmitters, telemetry receivers, when you send the command to the satellite, they should receive it. So the system which are on board, those are designed by my group. And I work as an engineer who designs the data transmitters. Okay. Today I thought instead of telling my journey, because if I tell my journey, you will feel like telling the story told by your father that I used to walk 10 kilometers and swim and fight with crocodiles, kill them and then go to school. So people will not believe it, so I will not tell it. Okay. But yeah, it is that kind of crazy story. Instead of that, I thought, okay, everybody is talking about their career and then what they need to do for the career, improve communication skills and do what not. But at the same time, at every interview, it may be GD, group discussion, it may be technical, it may be non-technical. First question will be asked, introduce yourself, and second question will be, what is your hobby? And we, with no shame at all, we say, reading is my hobby. I say no shame because we might have read one book by Chetan Bhagat about 5-point someone, and then we say that reading is my hobby. The next question he asked, what is your favorite author? We say Chetan Bhagat, and he says, why not Dan Brown? Because Dan Brown is a Chetan Bhagat at international level. But let's say, yeah, seriously, you read the book, one book you read, after that done. You need not read other books by Dan Brown. Same thing is Chetan Bhagat, you cannot finish one book also. But the gist is that once you have a hobby, you should be stand apart by that hobby. You should be recognized by that hobby. That hobby I am just going to introduce you. If you feel like this is worth your time, you can consider. And that hobby is called as amateur radio, and people started taking this hobby since 1900. The first transatlantic communication in 1905 was done by Giulio Marconi from US to England or US to Italy, transatlantic. But before that he was practicing on this hobby. And all the leading experts in communication area are hobbyists or amateur radio operators. You take an example of Nikola Tesla, you take an example of Yagi, the famous Yagi wood antenna which we used to rotate towards the station and shout Alaga. It came, we used to hold it. There is a meme also that one guy, he is shouting Alaga and he is saying yes Allah, just hold it there, and that guy is hanging from the antenna. He cannot hold it there. But the basic is that one guy who invented the Yagi antenna was hanged. Now, if you say, go to any interview and say that my hobby is amateur radio, see the difference. The next person will not be there to test you. Remember, when you say reading, that guy also might have read some book and he will be there to test you whether reading is really your hobby. The moment you say amateur radio is my hobby, he will stop and he will start asking his doubts to you. He will not test you. Now what exactly is needed? Can you go please one by one? So this is I will not go just in detail. I am just introducing what we can do and what I have done. I am an amateur radio operator since 2020, and but I had enthusiasm since my third year. In third year I had given one seminar, amateur radio and its role in the communication inventions, and my external guide asked me why you are talking about the dead hobby. This happened in 2008. and now I am hobbyist, and it is still much vibrant in 2024. Still vibrant. Okay, so here only thing is you are using the radio spectrum, the frequency, and that frequency you have only one. There is no, you cannot produce or you cannot destroy. So we have to share that frequency. Then what we do? We have Wireless and Planning Commission of the WPC, what we call it, Wireless Planning Commission. It comes under Department of Telecom, and those guys, they will monitor. They will conduct the test that you know basics about the communication, you know basic about communication in a technical communication. You know about transmitter, you know about receiver and all those things, and then they will test you. Some 50 questions will be there. There is a portal called Saral Sanchar. You can register. Within 50 days, they will assign you the center. You have to go there. Online exam will be there. Within the next 15 days, you will receive your license. In addition to license, that license copy will go to the District Commissioner of Police. And they will know that you are amateur radio operator. You can maintain your station at your home. And in case of disasters, the government will ask you to help them. And many of my friends have already gone during tsunami, during floods, during earthquakes, they will be there. Because when the natural disaster attacks, first attack point will be electricity and second will be communication. All infrastructure communication will be down, and then you guys with your batteries, radio sets, antenna, you can communicate. You don't need any other infrastructure network. Okay. Next. Okay, what are the things needed? There are some different two types of license. For that you need basic radio theory, you need to know, and rules and regulations. Since you are going on air, you will be transmitting something and which will be received by some other people, and it should not disturb them, and they should not disrupt their communication. To that you need to know what are the rules and regulations. And finally, Morse code, you might have heard about did da da da. Even your SMS, earlier mobiles used to play did da da da, did da da, did. Have you heard of this tone earlier? That was SMS tone, SMS in Morse code. This Morse code is not needed for restricted grade, but if you are going for general grade, it is needed. The equipments, anyway, radio, transmitter, receivers, they are available on Amazon for 2,500 rupee onwards. Up to 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, we can go equipments. We can buy those equipments from Amazon. There are certain dealers are there. Once you are ham, you will get introduced into your group and you can communicate with them and get those things. And then Morse key, SWR meter, all the radio equipments are needed. These are some photos which we can use. And these are some activities. Again, once you are ham, you will know. See, it was around the 1940s or 1930s when people didn't have a satellite that time. Satellite was introduced in 1957. Before that, no satellites. That time what people used to do, they used to transmit signal, very 1 kilowatt signal, they transmit to the moon. It used to go and hit the moon. Since moon is a rocky body, it will reflect the radio. And that reflected signal will cover whole globe. And that's how they used to communicate. They call it as a moon-earth bows experiment. So they used to use the moon as a reflector, as a satellite. And they used to communicate. Okay, next. Go on. Okay. This image, have you seen before? This image was received on 17th May 2024 from the satellite called Electro L3. Next. This was on 16th May. Just move back and forth. There are no, just 2 slides. Next. Back. Next. You see, whole continent is there, cloud movement is there. Next. This is from Penguin 2H. Next. This is from Leo sat. Those 2 images were taken very high, 36,000 kilometers, and then transmitted. This is from 1000 kilometers. Next. This is from another satellite called NOAA. Next. Okay, go on. Go on. Next. This is again Meteor satellite on 7th April. Next. You have seen the images that were just to arouse the curiosity in you. These are the images transmitted by satellite, but received by whom? Me. Where? From office? No. From my terrace. On my terrace, I can put a setup. I need to know when satellite comes, if it is a LEO stationary satellite, LEO, low Earth orbit satellite. I just need to know when satellite comes over my horizon, passes through and goes. During that time, I have to put up antenna, connect one receiver to a laptop, run some open source software and receive those images. Next, so what exactly is needed? First thing we need to know about the satellite, very easy. Rocket science is not a rocket science at all. Rocket science is rocket science only because of its reliability. If you are doing it for amateur purposes, it is not that difficult. Same is the case with satellites. Next. So, this Earth, next. So, there is a satellite, the satellite which is revolving around the Earth with one deterministic orbit. At the same time, Earth also is revolving. That means satellite will never be always on your horizon. It will keep on moving. We need to know when it comes. Okay. So there are two satellites. Back. Sorry, back. One step. So this is LEO. Altitude of the satellite is 1000 kilometers. Next, it is 36,000 kilometers. So two satellites. One is revolving at 1000 kilometers. It revolves around the Earth within 90 minutes. From one point, it goes around the Earth and comes to that point in 90 minutes. But during that 90 minutes, Earth would have rotated by 15 degrees. And that is the reason we feel like it has gone to other place. The satellite is not going, Earth is going. And because of that, we need to know at what time it comes above our horizon. Contradictory to this, contradictory to this, we have geostationary satellite whose period is 24 hours. That means it takes 24 hours to go around the Earth. At the same time, Earth would have taken 24 hours to revolve. So when you see from the Earth's surface, the Earth will see, the satellite will be looking like geostationary. It will be stationary, like it is there only, always. Okay. For those satellites, we need not know when it comes, because it will always be there above our horizon. Only you need to know what is its location. Right? These are the two things we need to know. Next. Now, about the LEO, we need to know the prediction when we get it. Right? For that, we need to remember one thing, that satellite is following Newton's first law. Rockets work on Newton's third law. Satellites on first law. What first law is? Any body which is in a motion or steady, unless acted upon by another force, it won't change its state. Satellites, when are revolving around the Earth, they will remain there. They will not change its position. So, that satellites' orbit are represented by few parameters. Next. So that parameters, those parameters are compressed into two lines. So they call as two-line element, TLEs. Those TLEs, those TLEs are available on Celestrack. One website is there. That website you can download this. Then back. This is Orbitron software. The software called Orbitron. You can download again from internet. Download that Orbitron software and then put those TLEs into this software, and this software will tell us that at what time the satellite will be above our horizon. We have to define our location to the software and satellite's TLE. Now once we know that, okay, at this time the satellite is coming, what is next? So now, what are the components required? We know that satellite is here. Geostationary satellite is at this point. If I point my antenna towards that, I will get. If LEO, it will come at this point above my horizon. I point antenna to that and keep tracking the satellite. I will get signal. But to receive and decode the image, what are the things required? First thing is antenna. Now, if you see antenna, the antenna is constructed using PVC pipe and measurement tapes. Antennas are not that critical. Don't believe your antenna professor. Antennas are not at all critical. Only tuning it to your demand or your need is what takes time. But if your demand is very low, antenna, they just work fine. Okay. So you need antenna. From antenna, you need a coaxial RF cable to bring it to your device. And the device you are seeing here is RTL SDR on Amazon 5,000 rupees, on eBay 2,500. And if you know our Nitish sir, he will manage properly. All customs he will clear from his side. It will take hardly 2,500. I have been purchasing it. And after that, next, all you need is laptop. If you see on one side there is SMA connector, that is RF coaxial connector, other side USB connector. So you can directly plug in into your laptop. At laptop, next, you have to have Orbiter software and open source SatDump. There are lots of softwares which will have the inbuilt telemetry, demodulation and decoding software. If you are interested, you can build your own software also. But at beginner's level, I don't recommend that. It will be very difficult and you may get bored with that hobby. So best go for, and the size of HDR you can see here, it is just like a very small device. Okay, next. This is internal study, electronics graduates, undergrads, you can just study. I will not explain. This is not playing, I guess. Can you just move your mouse back? Any play option is there? It is in, nothing is there. Okay. So this is how the UI looks like. You have the satellite's position and then the spectrum. On that spectrum you see a little bump. That bump is your signal. You tune to that frequency and you will be able to listen to the audio. Because the bandwidth is very small. Bandwidth is small, so you can demodulate and listen to that audio. That audio you can convert, and down you can see the NOVA EPP decoder is there. That is decoding the image. So these are the images. Can you see the Indian subcontinent? Unless we see the Sri Lanka, will not believe, right? So I have captured the Sri Lanka also for you guys. Next. So there are two bands. One is visible, one is infrared. Both are in black and white. Once you combine, you will get the color image. This is again the meteor signals where you have three signals, R, G, B, three bands. When you combine together, you will get the color image. This was about the LEO, that it comes, it goes, you have to track the satellite. With normal Yagi, it will happen, not an issue. But what about geostationary satellites? Geostationary satellites are very high above, and their coverage also will be very high. Earlier you see, back to the Arbiter software. Yeah, next. You see here, this is Meteor, I guess, Meteor M24. Its footprint you are seeing, right? The circle. From that region only this satellite can be seen. Okay, now in geostationary, if you see, next, its circle is very wide. From all that locations you can see that satellite. Its elevation will be different, but you can see the satellite. But the problem is, these guys are 36,000 kilometers away and they are transmitting only 30 watt. So you need to collect more energy. For that you need dish. Next. So you need a dish. That dish also, solid dot cell. One website is there. 2,000 to 5,000 rupees. 1.5 meter dish you can buy. You can assemble. This dish I had assembled with my daughter. She is 5.5 years old. She helped me to assemble this dish. So imagine what your kids or your parents, your friends will get like this action. Then you need antenna. This antenna will be little different because the frequency for geostationary satellite is 1.7 gigahertz. Earlier was 137 megahertz. This is 1.7 gigahertz. You can put a helical field which will be little smaller. That will collect the signal. That signal you need to amplify. We have a filter and low noise amplifier. Next, then coaxial cable again, and remaining chain is same. The software defined radio, PC and software. Okay. Now you see the images. If I am not sure whether the animation works, but I have received images over some time and try to do the time lapse. We'll see. This is the assembled dish. Okay. So this was the image. I have received multiple images over a week. I kept the time of image reception same, but day change. So you can see the sun is steady, but the clouds are moving. Now, these images you can use for any purposes. You can impress your colleagues by showing the images on your Instagram, WhatsApp. You can impress your guides by showing the images I have received using setup. Or you can do a serious research because the IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, what images they are receiving are of the same quality and their prediction has improved quite a lot. And what they are using, the image quality is same, they are developing the algorithm. In this university, if somebody come up with the innovative algorithm which can predict the weather using these images, that will be the best thing, I guess. So that is all from my side. If any questions are there, I would like to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes. It cannot happen like for conditional life. But now I think we have witnessed that how, I mean, it's because of your study and your patience and your hobby, that's what I think can happen. So thanks for showing this, and maybe you can elaborate what young people can do in this area as well.
I think in the process I forgot to tell about what I have achieved, what I have done through my hobby. One thing is I became ham. Once you become ham, you will try to communicate on terrestrial communication and then you acquire friends. You will become friends with so many other fellow hams who are having similar interests. So through that I came in acquaintance with one of the ham who was the director of Mint at Mysore. It's Vijayda. His call sign is VU2YBK. Call sign is something which we are known for. For example, mine is VU3 Tango Juliet Delta, TJD. With that I will be known. If I tell my call sign, people know that okay, I know this guy. So I came across with him and we started speaking about all ham related. And he is now currently after retirement, he has become the vice president of one of the firm at Bangalore itself. And he came across one problem statement where they wanted one communication device which can acquire the integrity of railway and some information about that from the end of railway. Then one device will be there that will acquire those things. And after that it will transmit that information to the head of the train engine. But that communication system he was not able to make it because he was not into making those things. Home brewing is one thing, he was not part of it. And I was kind of into it. I have been developing some small circuits and doing at my home. And there are some PCB manufacturing startups. If you just send them the Gerber, they will make a PCB and send it to you. So through him I came to know this problem statement and I said I can do it. And within the next 6 months, I made 2 devices, one transmitter, one receiver, and I wrote a code that will implement the communication protocol. And that I have given to you. Again, remember, whatever we are doing, it is for hobby and we cannot get any commercial benefit out of it. Whatever I did, that was for my learning. I didn't charge him a penny. I just made a device and whatever that fabrication was there, that he had spent, I gave him the Gerber file He made it. I gave the list of components. He wired it for me. Through that, I had got an opportunity to learn the coding part. I got to learn about BCH coding, decoding. BCH you might have heard, right? The error correction codes. When you do communicate from one place to other place or noisy channel, you need forward error correction. Those are things I got to learn. Now, I learned this as a hobby during weekend. I did at my home. That is the best part. You don't need very high-end equipments to learn those things. And same thing I have implemented at my office, and I am doing some other research.